This is the CHRILLCAST. I am the Chris.
And I am the Will.
And I'm a Billy they found.
Oh, Billy we found. Okay, anyways. Before Billy interviews us, which unprecedented for the channel. Conversation with the CHRILLCAST, best episode. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes.
Billy, tell me about you.
Well, again, changes every episode, but this episode, I used to do content on VISNAWesome, and I stopped doing that because I loved it, but now I love different things. D&D, I do a Tales of Initiative channel called Tales of Initiative, where I do D&D content, and we basically make a serialized version of D&D with a bunch of great players, including Will, and a couple other people, where we basically like make it like a fun mock-up of D&D with art and animation, and yeah, all of our wonderful voice talents going to great causes like murdering and all that fun stuff.
Kidnapping gnomes.
Yeah.
Oh man, by the time your thing comes out, people are gonna have heard this spiel like 100 times. Episode 200, Billy's like, I'm finally dropping the D&D cast. No.
No one's gonna have any idea who either. Just like, he ran something for YouTube at some point. We don't know what.
You really gotta have like a post D&D discussion, like with the crew, everybody that was a part of it. Just have like a post podcast.
We're gonna do we're actually gonna line up a podcast every week. So every episode that comes out is gonna be a podcast that comes out like simultaneously with it.
Oh my gosh, it's like reality TV.
Haven't named it yet, but it's coming. It's all coming soon.
All right, well, look out for that, guys. I promise it's worth your time, and I haven't even seen it yet. So Billy has agreed to interview Will and I for our 100th episode, Wildcard Wednesday conversations, literally with the CHRILLCAST. All right, go ahead.
I got you. So, well, we'll start off. We'll go top bottom. So, Chris, who are you? Can you tell us a little about yourself?
Who do you think you are?
I am literally the Master Chief. No, the Mr. Chief probably. But I am Chris. I've been doing this podcast for 100 episodes now. I've only missed like 6. Will and Billy, you probably filled in for multiple of the podcasts I missed. So I don't think I've ever missed one that Will wasn't part of. I don't think so anyway. Could be wrong.
I don't think so either.
But in my actual life, my real life, I'm an electrical engineer. I work in an industrial fashion, we'll call it that. I know a little bit about some industries in electrical engineering, and I've been doing that for almost a decade now. And I game as a hobby. I also have 3 kids and a wife. So that's pretty much my entire life right there. I don't do a whole lot having 3 kids. But I do enjoy baking. I baked 2 loaves of banana bread today, actually, by the way.
Ooh.
I baked quite a bit. And
that's at least one more than you need. You should send me one.
I'm taking the other one over to my in-laws' house tomorrow. We pretty much finished the entire other loaf today, so.
I'm docking interview points for that.
There you
go. Will, tell us about yourself, man. Who are you?
So, I'm Will. Nice to meet everyone. I have a problem, no. So, yeah, I've been doing this, obviously, with Chris this entire time. There's been several episodes that I've missed, and that's just because, like, I've moved several times, family stuff, work, and I am an evolutionary biologist by trade. I currently work with bumblebees. I can't talk much past that on that subject. I do like doing things outdoors, so I love to hike. I like fishing. I like just like picking up rocks and finding insects and identifying them. I like fossil collecting. I love collecting fossils. And yeah, I game in my free time. I play mostly Xbox games and like Nintendo games. I know I say like I always bring up playing Halo, but I have branched out quite a bit since I started the podcast. I think that's actually really helped me get out of just playing Fable and Halo. Yeah, that's pretty much me.
I did recently platinum Persona 5 Royal, like literally a couple days ago.
Yes. I think I've only 100%ed one. Actually, I told Chris this. I've 100%ed one game, The Walking Dead Telltale game.
Ah, dude, it's such a good series.
That's just because you finish the game and get it.
Yeah, you do actually. Now that I think about it.
So
Right.
Yeah.
Persona 5 Royal was like a 250-hour game for me. It was a
Yeah.
long game.
It's such a good series, though. You guys are
Yeah.
making good choices. Well, okay. So, Chris, what is it like doing your podcast every single week?
So behind the scenes, here's what happens every single week. I message Will some topics, and he says either yay or nay, and then I write up an outline every single week. Will occasionally will write the outline, but it's a little less often. Let's put it that way. And then once we solidify the outline, usually if I'm really prepared, I create the thumbnails before the podcast even goes live, before we record it and all that. So that's usually my goal for the week, is to have all of the thumbnails and the outline done before the day of recording. Sometimes it happens on the day of recording. And then Will's like, what are these topics? But usually that's the case. And then after all the videos are recorded, I put into a post-processing OBS simulation thing I have set up. And that basically fixes all the audio to remove any noise, cancels all that out. And it also puts gains on limiters on the voices. So it makes all the voices essentially the same decibel level. This is like a recent trick I've learned in the last 4 months. So if you notice, the podcast quality, audio quality has gone up significantly since then. And that post-processing is the reason. It is time consuming, but at least I don't have to sit at the computer the whole time it's doing it. I just basically set it up to run, walk away, and come back when it's done. So it's not that bad, but it does take some time. But that's basically the prep. And then, I don't know, I've only been burned out on topics once or twice the entire time we've been doing it, because gaming seems to always have something to talk about. Just kind of the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to come up with a throwback, 'cause it's like, what in the world is even come out on this day 20 years ago? Who knows? You just never know. You know, like looking back, like, what is this garbage?
Yeah, and especially because the first many episodes, we were just hitting like the week or the month, so we end up like when the day actually lines up with a good game, it's like, oh shit, but we already covered it.
Yeah, right. So that's kind of the idea. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of preparation, and we've had a few people come up and be like, "Man, you guys have a better outline than even I do," and I'm like, "Thanks." That's a compliment. But
or we'll have a guest is like, I didn't even read this. It's like, that was so much work.
But that is most of the preparation. The second half is like being available the day you have to record it. Like coordinating with guests every week is
Yeah.
It's a mystery. You never know. Like that's why I think having a set time for the live cast with the guest every week specifically kind of solidifies it without us having to change the date, change the time all the time. I mean, occasionally we might make an exception for somebody like Installation 00 who's supported us since the beginning. I would gladly change a day for him every once in a while, but
not for him.
I love that man. If he watches this, I love that man. I would
He's
marry
so
that
cool.
man wholeheartedly.
But I mean, the preparation is like the biggest part, and then just lining up all the descriptions and outlines and stuff like it. It's a process, and it is work. It's not a lot of work necessarily, but it is work.
We can dig that. I like that answer. Will
And I get to talk to Will every week, so there's that.
What about
Notice
you?
that was last. Anyway, and an afterthought. So anyway, so I guess you're gonna ask a question to me. So ignore everything that Chris said. I actually do all the work, and I definitely write the abstract or the outline. 90% of the time, not 10% of the time. And yeah, I do all the OBS work.
Wait till you see these
That's a lot.
thumbnails that Will didn't create.
You know what, motherfucker? I did do thumbnails one time, and I'll admit this, and I was really proud of those freaking thumbnails. And Chris immediately was like, "These are terrible," and has never asked me to do it again.
To be fair, you can't upload a thumbnail that's like 4,000 by
I had
2,000.
no idea. I had no idea what I was doing.
You can just do whatever you want with the extra space. It's gonna look beautiful, man.
The thing is, like, I just didn't know what I was doing. So, yep. Anyway.
I'll have to teach you again how to do it, but Paint 3D is a much easier program. I'll have to teach you that one.
Oh yeah, Paint was such a pain in the ass. I spent hours on those freaking, like hours and hours.
I remember you messaging me being like, dude, this is the worst task you've ever given me since we started the podcast. And I was like, I'm curious to see
And
what you
Chris
come
is
up
like,
with.
I made this in 5 minutes. Like, how the fuck did you do that?
No, I just honestly, when we did that, I just reformatted what Will had. Like, Will did a good job. I just had to fix like the
Gonna
resolution.
change it completely.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's like that's what like an art teacher says when they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's really good, and then they just like rip
What
it
he
down.
had was good. I just had to fix the minor inconsistencies YouTube would have essentially erred out on.
I had
yeah.
enough-
So
Gotcha.
it's always like, I mean, life is in a way, so it's always kind of a struggle to make sure I have the time, because like I'm ready to go, but you have to tell like an entire village of people around me that I also have to be ready to go. And Chris obviously knows that too with having kids, and yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, generally speaking, the guests are amazing. Like, I don't think I've ever had a guest I didn't like. So it's always super fun to talk to the guests. Occasionally, there's a topic that like I just don't really care much about. Like, I know, not to throw Chris on the bus, but a couple of Persona topics, I'm just like, I just can't get behind it. But I haven't played the games yet, so I just don't know anything about it. So I kind of sit there and twiddle my thumbs, and Chris takes control. So those ones are not as fun for me, but the rest of them have been a lot of fun, honestly.
I know you enjoy the company of like Spencer and the Arley and those guys, but you just don't
Yeah.
have a lot to add to that conversation.
Exactly, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Sometimes with Halo lore, I'm feeling that a little bit, but for the
I'm
most
just
part,
going with it, man. I was going full.
for the
full
most
tilt.
part, I can keep up with the Halo lore because I know a decent amount of it, and I've read a few of the books. But when you guys get into like the was it Shadows of Onyx, I'm like, I don't know.
I'll give you guys
Shadows of
credit, though.
Reach,
You
Shadows
guys-
of Reach. That's the one, right?
You do a
That's the
good
one that came
job.
out.
I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell that you guys don't know.
Will knows more than I do. He's read the even most recent books, I think.
Yeah.
Shit. Well, then I give you a lot more credit because I still think you guys know like everything on everything when you guys talk about it.
That's what we
So-
want you to think.
Yeah. So I know you guys hate each other secretly, but what is it like working together and coordinating schedules all the time?
Well, as Chris said, this is the only time we ever talk. So, like,
It's not 100% true. We do message throughout the week, and it
Yeah.
has kept us close as friends, I think. So the coordination is just kind of the beast, in my opinion, as it is, right? Like we
Yeah.
just have to make it happen every week.
yeah,
So-
having full-time jobs, and obviously, like, we both have wives. Chris has, obviously has kids, and my parents are essentially children at this point. So, it's unfortunately a struggle, but it's also like we make it work because we enjoy doing it. So, for
like
the most part, occasionally I suddenly just drop out of a call.
You're sick of it. You're like, I'm done. I'm doing it now.
Or his computer dies, or
Yeah,
you
my
know.
computer dies. Yes.
Or
We've had
occasionally
the-
we've been going on for too long, and Will's like, "Let's record the last episode tomorrow." And then he's like, "How about next weekend?"
I like it. Yeah, that's happened one time. The thing is, like, it's amazing actually thinking back on how many episodes we've done and how infrequent our like computer problems are. Like, we really rarely have problems. I mean, there's a couple times when my computer like shuts off or something, but
Will
Generally
just
speaking,
goes
it's pretty-
black screen right now. No.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's funny. Well, you remember how the first time we interviewed Adam Korlick, I was roboting so bad.
Right at the end though, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then he just signed off the podcast for you, and it was great. He goes, "And I'm not Will," and I was like, "That's hilarious." Anyways,
That was our first big interview, wasn't it?
it really was. Yeah, it was him, and then Halo Cannon was the next big one.
Yeah.
Oh man, what a terrible time, robot! Like my heart would sink if like I don't
We
know.
had done 5 episodes already. I mean, Adam was a trooper. He ran.
Yeah,
like
we were in
4
like
hours.
we were in
Good
like
dude.
6 hours by that point.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
insane.
Good
And
dude.
then the best part was at the end. He goes like, "This is coming out on Christmas. This will be the lowest views you guys ever get on YouTube." And I was like, "Yeah, pretty much. That's probably true."
At that point, we were still getting like 17 though. So
Yeah, and then we got like 100 with all of his episodes. He's like, "Well, that's okay." And the other thing I will say about coordinating schedules, the guest coordination is it can be tiresome and stressful. Like sometimes it's just like, is this even worth coordinating anymore?
You hear that, guess? You hear that?
Like
Get
sometimes
better.
you'll message them that week, like, "Oh my gosh, I totally forgot." And I'm like, "Oh no, what's gonna happen?" Like I know Will, since he's had a daytime job, like Sunday nights are basically off limits. Like I really try hard not to have any Sunday night recordings.
yeah, unlike Chris, I actually have to sleep. Chris can. I don't know. Chris might be a robot. I'm convinced of it. And like his whole family is just a facade.
It just plugs in at night. I feel you.
Exactly.
Ugh. But
Um,
yeah, the coordination, it is probably the hardest part of the podcast because like Will and I can come up with an outline and things to talk about every week.
Yeah, and the thing is, if it was just us coordinating, it probably wouldn't be that difficult. But like, both of us, and then also the guest it is difficult.
And that's why we're moving to the new schedule. I think that's the biggest reason, in my opinion.
no, you guys, it's gonna help you guys out a lot. I think it's gonna be a lot easier for sure.
Shorten our recording time at least.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, what about have you guys got burnt out over the last 2 years? Or how's it going for you guys?
From time to time, I feel a little burned. Like I had some serious writer block, especially like, I'm not going to name the guests because I don't want to make them feel bad, but there was a couple times where I was like, man, this is a great guest and I have no idea what we're going to talk about. And I probably scrubbed my brain for a straight week and then just slopped something together. And it's like, okay. And it turned out to actually the week worked really well, but I really felt like I was out of my creative zone for the couple weeks that happened.
Yeah, tell me more. You heard that.
No, it definitely wasn't Timmy, but I don't know. Sometimes it just feels like I'm scraping together slop and I have no idea if it's going to stick or if people are going to be like, okay, 5 minutes are up. Let's move on to the next subject.
Yeah,
like
there's
Neverwinter
times-
Nights.
oh,
that was
sorry.
a garbage topic. We should never talk about Neverwinter Nights.
No, we definitely shouldn't have.
Okay, go ahead, Will.
Yeah, I was gonna say like it'll be weeks when I'm burnt out, and then the next week I'm totally fine. So I don't know. Doesn't seem to be a pattern to that.
Yeah.
You gotta enjoy what you're doing for the amount of time we've been doing it to do it for no money this long.
Yeah. Wait a minute. You haven't been making money, Chris?
Will's like, I've been taking advertising from Nike, man. That's my
I
hat.
know, exactly. Just do it.
You guys are getting paid. I've been paying to be here. This is insane.
You're paying to interview us? Well, Will, where's that money going?
Exactly.
Oh,
You see
no.
my art classes I'm taking?
You guys, I think the dynamics really, like, I can speak from like the audience standpoint too, though, is like you guys have a really good dynamic and like the friendships there, and I think that's one of the big parts of it that a lot of people come back for is it feels natural and it feels, it doesn't feel like one of those things where like you're forced to be there every Sunday. I mean,
That's actually what we've been
It's
spending
scripted.
money on in acting classes.
yeah, and the guns that
Yeah.
they aim at you too.
Yeah.
FPS Russia has been holding it back against us the whole time. It's like, you better make the next week's content. Like, no, I'm just kidding.
What do you guys think some of your most memorable moments have been?
For me, like the one that sticks out in my mind immediately is when we interviewed Halo Cannon. It's the first time. No, he's only been on once in his career. It's been on it several times. And the reason why is just because like I'd only ever heard his voice on his shows, and actually hearing that voice like talking back to me and like answering my questions, that was really surreal. And it was really cool.
Yeah, I have to say the first time we had a guest on that I had been watching for multiple, like I remember being hyped literally every day until Adam Korlick came on the podcast, and I've told him this story before, and now he's just like, dude, we're cool now, like whatever, man, you don't gotta hype me up or
Stop
anything.
talking to me.
But Adam, like, he's even cooler than I ever could have imagined, and getting to talk to him, I've really understood like he is one of the most relaxed and cool dudes on YouTube, and
Mm-hmm.
I've kind of learned that about a lot of people we've interviewed, but you can definitely tell we're a lot more comfortable with interviews now than we were when we did the first few.
Yes.
And
Well, yeah.
and the guests have helped with that. Like, for example, I think when Halo Cannon said you can call me HC because I'm hip and I'm hip yo in his house or something like that. Like, I think it immediately made Will like break down that barrier of like starstruckness,
Yeah.
and he started like,
yeah.
talking more naturally.
It was cool.
So I think
It took
that-
me several interviews to get over that. Actually, like just hear like it is very surreal to hear the voice talking back to you, and it's like it's a real person, not just like a YouTube channel. It was
Right.
always very weird.
like Racevic, man, I didn't expect him to come on because he kind of ignored me at the beginning.
That's
and then-
another thing. I
yeah.
never understand why anyone accepts it. I'm always super confused. Like when I asked goodness gracious, I'm tired. When I asked Wow Such Gaming to come on, I literally sent him one message and he said sure. It's like,
He's one of the coolest. I've said this before, but like his personality is just like it radiates happiness. I feel like
Yes,
you
yes.
just want to like talk to him when you are talking to him. It's like, this guy's a cool dude. Like, and Roanoke Gaming, that was one of the most fun and alcohol infused podcasts I've ever done in my entire life. And by the end of it, he's like, I have finished the wine, guys. I was like, that's amazing.
That was good.
I don't know. Like, there's just so many memorable moments. Like, Billy coming on for the first time was a huge, like, that was fun. I remember, honestly, Billy, when you said you would come on the podcast, like, this is so cool. Somebody actually agreed to come on the podcast.
Yeah, and Chris described you as like, this is my friend from GameStop.
And Will's like, is this guy just trying to sell you stuff and he's just being nice to you?
Yeah, no,
You guys let me on. I started selling warranties. I'm like, man, let's do this, man.
exactly.
I was happy when you guys invited me for the first time. I was really happy because like YouTube for me, like, oh, it was so weird at the time. Like I didn't even know if I was gonna stick with it, and like VISNAWesome was like wasn't struggling, but like content was just like I was churning out just like thing after thing that I wasn't proud of, and like I every time I come back on here though, I usually get like a spur of like what I want to do more, and like I don't know, you guys definitely helped at least me creatively like when I first started, and it gave me a lot of motivation, honestly. And I had and I still have a good time with you guys.
Well, Billy, we have a good time with you, or we'd have, shipped you off a little. You'd have gone down with the ship. The Krillcast would have sunk by now. No, I'm just
Get
kidding.
out of here, man.
VISNAWesome would have tanked. I would have made
we
sure
do
of
not
it.
sink. We're krill. We can swim.
Exactly.
Dang it.
We made you the captain because we can swim.
I knew this was gonna happen. No one ever makes me captain.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
all right.
I know the answer to this question, and I'm very excited to ask this one. But what guests do you still want to have on the show that you haven't yet?
Phil Spencer.
Yes, that.
Phil
that's a
Spencer,
good one.
yeah.
I would have Dean Carter on. He'd be fun.
Oh yes, that would be awesome.
I would also have Joseph Anderson. He'd be a cool one to have on. We wouldn't be able to do a 1 hour live cast with him. Probably be like 6 hours, but that's okay. His reviews of The Witcher are like 4.5 hours. I'm still in the middle of like Witcher 2 of his review of that one. I'm like, how did you make a review this long? I don't understand. But I'm so intrigued by everything you're saying, so that's cool. I'm just gonna keep listening to it over the course of the next 2 years. But anyways,
I like to have King K on.
yeah, you've mentioned him many times. I would gladly have him on after kind of listening to his content a little bit. Cool dude.
Hey, it's got a whole Donkey Kong series. Have you watched it all yet?
Nope, I haven't yet. No, I speaking of that, I'd love to have the Geek Critique on. I know he doesn't really accept podcast invites, but I do really enjoy this guy. So if he ever would want to come on, gladly would have this guy on. He has literally the best Donkey Kong Country breakdown I've ever listened to in my life. So there's him. At the NES Punk, because he kind of inspired me to start this podcast, even though sometimes I feel like he's kind of a little too fired up over the subjects he talks about, and I don't really understand why. That's fine. Metal Jesus, gladly have him on.
Oh yeah.
Trying to think of some other Game Grumps if they wanted to get on, or any of those other.
Yeah.
But a lot of times though, some of these bigger channels will have a side podcast they do, and so then they're like, well, I don't really want to come on your podcast because I have my own podcast. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right, whatever.
I'll have Captain Midnight come on, like his channel.
Captain Midnight.
He has a great intro.
No, I've never heard of him. I still want to have is this INFJ? Can't remember what the heck is.
I expected
Frank James.
I expected like one guest in particular, but I'm gonna hold it because
No,
it didn't
tell
get
me.
said. No,
I'm sure I want that
PewDiePie.
stuff.
I want PewDiePie on because that would literally instantly make us famous.
I feel like it's another cast that
Spawn Wave. So yeah, like I was gonna say
I gave up
too,
on
but,
him.
like I'm actually kind of like I feel kind of spurned by him. So
I would gladly have MKBHD on, Marks Brownlee.
be a cool one.
I really respect his content creation, and every time he puts out a review of a tech product, I'm immediately like, I'm hooked. I'm like, I'm gonna watch this. I like him, and I like and this is like the side of me I never talk about. Like I like him. I like John Rettinger a lot. Another one of my favorite YouTubers. He had Techno Buffalo as his company for a very long time.
No, that's cool.
I liked him quite a bit. And then who's the other guy? Mr. Who's the Boss. I enjoy him a lot too. I don't know if you guys ever watched him, but he's the one that does all these crazy like 16 iPhone reviews. Click all the buttons at the same time, see how fast they load. I would gladly have him on too. He's cool. But yeah, those are some of my. I'm really into tech YouTubers. Nobody knows this. I never talk about it. I love tech YouTube. But,
yeah, I watch a lot of like biology stuff. So like we can have a bunch of nerdy people on if you want to.
yeah,
that would be great.
Whatever you want, Will. We're doing live shows now, so whatever.
Dr. Polaris. Yes. Let's do Dr. Polaris.
Dude, get him on the live show, Will. Come on, you got it.
This
It's a
guy.
little
This
bit.
is him.
Yes, it is totally him.
Okay. Let's have him on. We'll have Finding Bigfoot on too. No, I'm just kidding.
Trey the Explainer. I would like to have him on.
Explainer.
There's a bunch of guys who like do this kind of content that I really like.
Yeah, maybe we could even have Croatoan Medical on too.
We already had that guy on.
Oh yeah, that's right. Had to make that joke. Sorry.
Yeah, we just had his different persona on. That's all.
Yeah, pretty much. And we could even have CGP Grey on. He'd be cool.
Okay.
He liked our video, by the way, when we reviewed it like forever ago, and just never commented on it, never shared it, just liked the video. I was like,
The
thanks. It's like, thanks, man. Act-Man. That dude is
Pac-Man, yeah.
like, he reached out to me one time and he probably muted me because I messaged him too many times. But I would love to have Act-Man on.
Mm-hmm.
He's a cool dude. And now that we have enough, contacts that are also friendly with him, maybe that live show. Let's see.
That'd be good.
Anyways.
That's a call out. Please come on. Please come on the live show. Is what he's saying.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyways, that's kind of the ones I've thought of off the top of my head.
Yep.
JonTron, I would have him on. He won't come on, but I would have him on. All right, get that next one. Let's do it. Let's have that.
What were some of the biggest mistakes, and what were some of the biggest successes of the CHRILLCAST?
Starting it.
I know
Sorry.
right off the top.
I had to make the joke, but Chris actually has the biggest one up right now. That
Trying to find it.
Back to the Future episode.
I thought you were just talking about the movie Back to the Future. I was like, that hurts, man. That's
I
Come
love
on.
those movies.
I
That's
can't
the
even
problem.
find
We
it.
love those movies, but apparently not as much as the fandom on Reddit.
oh. Did
I
they get
can't
mad
even
about
find
it?
this video.
Oh, they were so mad.
Why? What happened?
They said it was bad. They just said it was bad. Hold on, I bet if I can type in.
We basically theorized what like a fourth movie could be, and they were pissed.
Oh yeah, because they hate. Yeah, because the director won't come back for the fourth movie. Like he will not get off the rights to like redo it. Yeah, that's crazy.
I can't even find the video. That's how buried it is. Let's see if I can find it now.
Wow, I didn't know that happened. That's crazy.
Yeah, we literally got roasted badly. There it is.
Man.
Another mistake is Chris got kicked off the Star Wars forum.
I shared one too many of our videos on the Star Wars subreddit, and then they gave me a warning. But instead of giving me a warning, they just straight up permabanned me. And I reached out to the mod. I was like, "Hey, nobody told me this rule, and I didn't know it was a rule. Do you think you can unban me?" And he goes, essentially, it's like, "No, you prick! I'm not unbanning you."
Wow.
I was like, what?
Well, it's fine. They didn't have anything to be proud of with the last movie, so
I was
you're
just
good.
like,
You won overall.
I was like, WTF, man? I don't think I deserve this. And then he's like, "You do. Bye." And he blocked me. So, wow, this guy really doesn't like me. But yeah, this was back when we had the different colored borders per day, which lasted for 1 week, exactly 1 week, and then we did away with that.
Yeah, speaking of our big successes, I would say like Chris redesigning our frame and rolling that out, and also the new thumbnail design.
Yeah, the thumbnails, I'm very happy with the way the thumbnails are now. I think they're way better than they were. Little shrimp in the corner.
Yeah, the border looks really good. You guys did a good job.
Thanks. Yeah, and then there's this. Remember when Billy joined the CHRILLCAST? 40 views on a 17-second video that came out in a random time in the middle of the night on a Saturday.
What a time! I was so proud. I was so happy about that, though.
I think I commented on that video, by the way.
You did. You did. You said something about CHRILLCAST. Am I being replaced? I don't know. Something.
No. You go down, something like that, though.
You're wrong. But also, you're right. Imposter. Yeah. We'll pin that one. I love having the power to pin comments. It makes me so happy.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, one.
I would say one of the other things that has been interesting was seeing some of our previous guests go through kind of some hardships. Like, for example, Hopeless Peaches, she's finally been vindicated, but my God, she went through some hard times. And that was not, I wouldn't say it was a mistake, but it was like people are so rude online. And I'm just worried that could eventually, I mean, I don't think we do anything to the extent that would cause that, but man, it's always looming, and that makes me nervous.
I've been messaging our guests for months now.
He's like,
all of them
cancel
have to be
Chris.
under 18.
Yes, exactly.
He's like, cancel Chris, bye. CHRILLCAST is mine, my precious. Anyways, so some of our biggest successes, I don't know, what would you call a big success? Well, I thought the Zeta Halo was a huge success, just lining that all up and having that happen.
I think whenever we have like, it's always a really big deal to have one guest on, but we've had several podcasts now where we have like 2 or 3 guests on, and they're always like really big, and those are really fun, and also just amazing that all of them agreed to come on at the same time.
Yeah, that was really fun. That was a huge success in my opinion. I really feel like one of the turning points for our channel was getting like Luke and Chris in those YouTube channels that you and I have been watching for years on. But probably the first turning point was Adam and Halo Cannon, and then the second time I felt like we really hit our stride was when we had like Eckhart's Ladder, Chris Ray on, Luke, hitting Xperia, like back to back to back. It was like wow. And then we've just kind of been zooming, I guess, really. We're just flying through everything. But if only our subscriber count would match the amount of progress I feel like we've made.
You guys are climbing. You're getting up there, though, man.
Once we hit 1,000, I feel like that's like that barrier to entry. 1,000, and then boom, like it just starts exploding after that.
Yeah,
As long
Chris
as you
really
have
wants
good
the community tab. I want the community tab too, though.
That's really what I want, because I want to be able to put up the polls and be like, hey, what do you guys think about this? And then people will be like, I don't even know who you are, like they do Skyrion.
Get your poll out of here.
I was really happy to have Skyrion on. Will, you introduced me to his channel, and I really appreciate that. He's really cool.
Yeah. I want to give him crap every time I see him, though, for not doing the like top 10 facts videos, because that's what actually like got me interested in his channel. And then he like went on the hiatus for like a year. And now he does the lore videos, which are really good, but I missed the top 10 facts ones.
Yeah, and I think the other success was launching a parody video based on the Halo franchise. I'm shocked I was able to make that happen. I was working 6/12 midnights, and somehow I put out a music video in the Halo universe with the aid of Vroom. Vroom was very helpful, but I still don't know how I managed to pull that off.
Yeah, you definitely don't sleep, dude. There's not a chance.
I'm telling you, he doesn't.
Like, at all, man.
And if I do find time to do it, I have another parody I'm working on.
This is why he has so many children, because he's just sucking the youth out of them.
We need another. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. So I guess those are I consider those pretty big successes. Like Zeta Halo, putting that video together with all the right guests at the right time was definitely it was an act of God to make that happen. And Will and I were both like super excited to make it happen, so it was fun.
You guys have had like a lot of really big like it's been really cool to watch you guys grow and watch like the channel like turn into what it is now. And God, from like day one till now, it has definitely made a huge difference. But I like it too. I'm with you guys.
Right.
So I think we talked a little bit, but when do you guys think you guys will hit 1,000 subscribers on the channel?
I think it's going to take 2 of the live podcasts, and then we're going to go bloop, right past it.
I actually do kind of agree with that, because I get the right 2 guests on who'll share it on their community tab or on Twitter, and I think that will bring more eyes on our podcast. Whereas right now, I think the post-recording releases of the podcast are what's kind of hurting us, because even the guests sometimes will be like, "Oh yeah, that's coming out this week. I forgot."
Yeah, if we were to release it like the same day or the day after, I think they would remember. But a lot of times, yeah, like you said, like this completely forgot.
And I don't hold that against them. The fact that they were even willing to come on the podcast is super
Y'all
cool.
stuck.
But I do think if we have like a live cast with like Wow Such Gaming Roanoke, or like with Hidden Xperia and Racevic, who wants to talk about how sprinting's not a big deal, that could be a really fun podcast. But just having like big creators like that on, and people that we really enjoy talking to and recording with, could be a huge boost to our channel, having that be live instead of post-recording release like we've been doing, and it's been relative success. 700 subscribers for essentially two blokes who know nothing about gaming. No. But
much. Yeah.
I think the live cast will significantly, either it's going to boost our show or it's going to kill our SEO altogether. So we'll see. One of the two is going to happen.
I think it'll definitely help you guys. It'll be really interesting too. I honestly can't wait to see like interviews and stuff like be done through the live. Like I think it'll be really cool. Other than that, guys, what's your closing thoughts? What do you guys are you guys proud? Are you guys super excited? What are you guys feeling?
I can't believe we made it to episode 100. And again, I was talking to Chris and you before this, and it's like, how many weeks is that? Like, we've been doing this for almost 2 years now. That's great.
Yeah. The 2-year anniversary is April 4th.
Yeah.
We did skip quite a few weeks in the beginning. Like, Will and I were not committed to this in the beginning, like at all.
Oh, yeah. Well, part of that's because we would film, like, it was like 4 hours at a time on our phones.
And then I would
like,
reduce it down to like 45 minutes.
And then Chris would cut it up. Yeah, that was terrible.
That was hard chopping that up because I couldn't decide what to keep and what to throw out. Like, there's so many bloopers. The first week we recorded the podcast 4 times.
Jeez.
Oh yeah,
because we never could
because
get the audio.
And then also, like, the thing is, Chris wouldn't let me swear at that point, so I would swear like once in that like 4-hour time span. He's like, "You son of a bitch!" And I have to go through and look at that. Like, I'm sorry, it slipped.
Oh no.
And I
I
would
forgot
feel
about
so bad about it.
I
But,
forgot
like,
about that.
I get so scared to cuss on here with you guys that like I know it's cool now, but like that's still ingrained in me. I'm like, is it cool? No one's talked about it. Nobody's said anything yet. So I'm just thumbs up for it.
I just don't really. I unless I had like a good reason, I just generally don't swear on the podcast. I know it hurts you and YouTube algorithms and stuff, and I'm like, okay. But if a guest does it, it's like we asked them to be on the show. We know how they talk in real life.
Yep.
We should have known ahead of time they're going to swear on the podcast, and that's fine.
Yep.
It's good. So that's kind of how I view it, right? But for me, it's like I'm not going to damage our own channel by swearing. If Will wants to, that's fine. Whatever.
down with the channel.
Anyways, my closing thoughts are I just appreciate being able to do voice cracking. I'm so emotional right now, Will. I just appreciate being able to do a show with one of my best friends every single week.
No,
all year round. And maintaining that friendship.
this is beautiful.
I don't know who you're talking about. Billy's only on here a couple times.
He hates me. I'm gonna play for the
Oh my
Krill, so it's
gosh.
over. And I'm sad. This is
Death
nice.
by pizza. Billy is literally dying right now.
Please, I'm going back to 250. Let's do it. Oh man.
Wait, you weighed 250 pounds?
Yeah, my biggest I was 265 altogether.
I can't imagine you weighing that much.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't see
no,
it.
Lindsay didn't see it either. Oh god, man, it was times. It was times. This shirt meant something back in the day.
Billy, if you could offer us any points of improvement or criticism, like what would you like to see us do?
Oh yeah, here we go, boys. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, truthfully, to me, there's not a lot of podcasts I enjoy watching out there that kind of cover the topics you guys do. And when I say that, like at least in the format you guys do, I love your guys' interviews, and I love like speaking from, again, like an audience perspective. I don't know, like I love for you guys to just keep getting more guests on. It's something that I really enjoy. I love seeing the interviews. That's one of my favorite parts. I still really enjoy Tuber Tuesday and also Throwback. Bye.